Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Williams' Return to Glory. We just finished the season finale to last season. We have not done anything since then. I've done some tests and whatever, but we're just gonna go through the mail and through the car development, and we're just gonna see what we can do and kind of like what happens. From the mail, just got stuff about the last week's race. You got an interview. Simple question: which one of your drivers is better? Albon. Albon will be staying with the team for next year. Got Verstappen crown champion. Halger, new F1 champion. That should be a F2 champion. Edley, new F2 champion. Should be F3 champion. Ward and Rasmus Lind. Alright, so from the part design screen, we're going with another front wing just to see if we can fit one more upgrade onto the car before we have to start developing next year's car. So from the part fitting screen, we just went through and just made sure that we had the legal parts on the car that have the high performance, just so we can just start helping the that was backwards, help the both cars just better through the development process. So from the part improvement screen, we went through here and just didn't change much. We took the new gearbox that just finished being built, put it on performance because this secondary gearbox is very close to maxing out, and if we can get that to eclipse this, that would be good. So we're just gonna keep all the focus on this one side, and we have that new front wing coming into that we will eventually focus on. Alright, so from the mail screen, got stuff about Oscar Piastri. Oh, his thing went up a little bit. I remember it being kind of lower 3-star. Bestie dropped. Ayuma is Red Bull affiliated. Below. NATO. Alright. Here's our prize money. Get 56 million. Team boss of the season is Christian Horner, and driver of the season is Yuki Tsunoda. Alright, so for the rules for 2023, Mexico City is changing layout. We're going to one round of qualifying. We've got 15 extra sets of tires, and they will not do virtual safety cars. They'll only do full course cautions. For the mail screen, Rob Smedley joins Haas. James Headley is being touted as heading to F1. F2 title. He won the F3 title, if you don't remember. So from the mail screen, we are getting ready to design next year's cars. I know that we have sponsorship stuff here, but I'm going to look at a new driver in the next coming weeks. So we're just going to go design our car, and then we'll worry about the sponsors before the season starts. We get 19 million saved throughout the year. We went fat stacks with savings. And I will join you when I make all my decisions on engines and whatnot. Alright, so looking at who we had for the previous year, we had Mercedes as an engine supplier, Petronas as a fuel supplier, and we were independent on the chassis materials. Now, I'm going to go backwards through this. We went with the best brake supplier through Pirelli. For the material supplier, this is kind of where the rest of my decisions came in. We really had a problem with tire heating and with tire wear this year. So I felt if I had picked Mercedes as our material supplier, it doesn't make sense for us to just switch engines like I was kind of thinking of doing. So I went through for fuel supplier, just went with Petronas. We went with for last year because it was only a decision between Shell and Petronas. But yeah, for engine supplier, we are going to be back with Mercedes. for I can't even remember how many years in a row it's been for Williams. But that will be our car for the 2023 season. All right, so from the mail screen, we have a dilemma. This is for team marketability. We either take 5 on the team marketability or we take 5 on Albon's morale and gain marketability. We're just going to get the visit done because marketability is very important for our team at the moment. So we have another dilemma. One of our best engineers has discovered a possible solution to our car's performance from the fuel tank. From an experienced engineer like myself, I must say this is an exceptional engineering innovation. Some small weight balance adjustments could give us an immense gains in the car's overall improvability. We have found on extensive testing, however, that these changes would affect the car's fuel efficiency, although not dramatically. I am enthusiastic about the change, but you are the team boss and you have the final say. So we had a really bad problem with tire wear and tire heating. Fuel efficiency has always been something where I just kind of burn off fuel, the excess fuel in the beginning of the race, and then just kind of pedal the car through the rest of the race. So this is something that I think, improvability wise, which is something that we really need to focus on, we will take. So we will take up this opportunity and we will improve our improvability and take a hit on our fuel efficiency. All right, so we're in the scouting screen, and this has been my short list I have been working on for the entire for season. I've had this short list kind of prepared and kind of ready, and like who I've looked at and who I think we could sign. Going through the list, Valtteri Bottas, having him return to Williams would be a pretty cool story. You've got Kevin Magnussen, a driver who just got thrown back into F1 this year. Potentially, he was linked to Williams, I think last year, but they ended up going for Albon. You got Pierre Gasly, who potentially could be moving to our team. He seems to be always in the news, or not always in the news, but pretty regularly talked about moving away since having the whole Red Bull situation kind of fall apart, and knowing that he is not going to be returning to Red Bull. You've got Sebastian Vettel, currently in Aston Martin, in a team that's kind of flailing at the moment at the back. Pretty high promise for the team, but they've kind of squandered that last year. And Sebastian potentially could jump over to our team. We have Nico Hülkenberg, who has been out of the sport for a while. Has been, a really good reserve driver coming in during the whole COVID situation for Aston Martin / Racing Point, I think it was still called when he did his first substitute. You get Nick DeVries, Mercedes junior driver. Potentially we could put him in our seat and kind of work as like a Mercedes B team. You've got Oscar Piastri. He was a Renault / Alpine Academy driver, and I will tell you right now, since we went with the Mercedes engine, I'm gonna unfavorite him because he was just here for just in case we went with Renault to make that option kind of look realistic. So we have Antonio Giovinazzi here. He is a still young and probably should be on the grid in real life. I would vouch for Gio going to the second Williams seat just for having 2 experienced drivers there to work on the car. Got Callum Ilott, someone who's been kind of removed from the Formula ladder system, going over to IndyCar, doing really, really good over there. I was potentially looking at him for a seat, but with Latifi moving, I think we can look at some of these next drivers as potential reserve drivers. You got Robert Schwartzman. He's got financial backing. He could potentially be somebody we look for as a reserve driver. You've got Theo Pourchaire, who did really, really good in F2 last year. Could look at him. And then you've got the Williams talent, Logan Sargent, currently at Carlin, sitting in the wings. Potentially we could move him up to reserve driver for this year. So I'm going to just say that looking at the list here, I'm going to tell you kind of who I'm going to take off the list and why. Valtteri Bottas. Um, or I'll actually tell you why I want to keep somebody on the list. So Valtteri Bottas, very, very strong at Alfa Romeo. He's been the front runner at the team. He's been just carrying the team on his back, at least in our careers. So I think having him move back to Williams down the pecking order is a little unrealistic. Um, and I think that's just kind of a down step for him. So we will not go after Valtteri. Kevin Magnussen potentially could be an option for us, but he's just kind of, he's good, but I don't think Haas would be too happy about having him go to a team that they're actively competing against. Pierre Gasly, he has a clause in his contract to where he's allowed to leave if he can go to a team that's higher than AlphaTauri in the Constructors' Championship. Sebastian Vettel, I do think we can consider him an option. He had one start for Williams back when it was Williams BMW. So that would be another story, kind of similar to Bottas, where you have somebody kind of returning to a team. A lot of experience and can help with developing the car alongside Alex Albon. So I would still consider him for the seat. Got Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg, I think, is a little too old at the moment, and he's just been so removed from F1 these past few years that I think, we could do better with kind of selecting someone else with better experience. Nick DeFries is someone that I think we can consider for the seat. Like I said, just kind of being a Mercedes junior team kind of situation. So I think right now our decision between the drivers for who we're going to put in the race seat, because Antonio Giovinazzi, I don't think he's worth the trouble of getting and breaking the contract and any of that, because he's only a minor improvement, at least in the Motorsport Manager with the rating system. I wouldn't consider him. Callum Ilott, I think, is too good to be considered for a race seat. So our decision for race seat is between Nick DeFries and Sebastian Vettel, and I think between the two of them, we are going to go with Sebastian Vettel for our race seat. So we're going to attempt to break him out of his contract. All right, so Sebastian has 5 patients, so we can kind of risk it here a little bit with some of the terms. You see, he says, I care about my status, but not enough to cause problems. So we're going to try to just get him to do equal status. I'd like a multi-year contract. We'll try to give him a 34-month. So he prefers an even split, so I won't complain to having him save us $2 million. We're going to just look at the maximum we can give him, be 502. We're going to go down to about 400. He's not interested in a big signing on fee, so we'll go down to about 325 or 375. Bonus, we're just going to put it at first. That's the typical thing you do. They deserve to be rewarded for going for first, so this is going to be our first attempt at assigning Sebastian Vettel. Alright, so looking here at Theo Pourchaire, he currently has this trait of looking to join a driver academy. I think potentially we should look at signing him to being our reserve driver. He's got really good marketability and he's got a really good ceiling, to where if Sebastian Vettel or someone got injured, we can kind of put him in the seat and potentially we could see him grow throughout the season, give him some FP1 outages and kind of just work on him as a talent. So I think we're going to approach him as our new reserve driver. Alright, so Theo Pourchaire also has 5 patients, so we're going to just kind of look at what we're going to do with him. We're going to look at the maximum he's going to take. Alright, so his cost is pretty low, so we'll just look at that. Signing on fee, We're not going to give him more than Sebastian Vettel. His bonuses don't really matter because we are not going to be putting him in too many races, and we aren't going to be running up front. So this is what we're going to send to Theo Pourchaire. Alright, so from the driver's screen, we were able to sign both Vettel and Pourchaire, just first time around, so we will put them both into our team. Welcome, Sebastian. And welcome, Pourchaire. I did a quick look through, and Haas currently have the best rated manager, or not manager, chief engineer out of any other team. He's got 11 months left on his contract, and I think with us having Sebastian Vettel, a former four-time F1 champion, I feel like we could potentially have the pull to kind of get somebody like him over to our team, especially from a rival at the bottom of the grid. So we're going to approach Simone Resta. Alright, so now the reason why I wanted to get Simone was because he has better traits than Costa does. Costa is his bonuses are very one end or the other, and while the final one that he has is really good, we're not going to get to the legendary status to where we can use most of those. Simone Resta has some very good kind of good and great skills that we can use, and we can add to parts to where you can help boost performance, especially in those situations where we have like a high risk level kind of sweep across the tiers. So yeah, we're going to send this to Simone Resta. So from the staff screen, you can kind of see what I was talking about, the average and legendary. Yeah, Simone will sign him in, accepted. So we get to look at kind of those traits I was talking about. Yeah, you can see here, build time 1 day, the same one the other guy had, but our performance to max and 30% reliability, that's a really good one to use if we need it. And then 10% performance and reliability during the race. That's not one we're going to use, but specifically this one and his high stats are going to be very good for us, kind of making those first couple parts, and where we might have a hard time kind of deciding what we're going to do with the high risk level. So Haas and herself have done a straight swap with teams, or with our chief engineer. So Aldo Costa takes the place of Simone Resta, who we hired just a couple days ago. Alright, so we're going to go edit the livery for the car for our 2023 season. I have a general idea of what I want to do, but I will be back with what I came up with. Alright, so this is the car I came up with. I was originally going for like a sort of like a Rothman's style 90s F1 livery, or 90s styles Williams livery, but I couldn't find really a place where I could put just a little bit of red where it kind of worked and everything looked nice. This is the best I could do. I kind of like this little gold stripe. Matches with the fact we're going to have rich energy on the car. We could always change this later when we lose rich energy. Originally I was going for like a little bit of red and then have like gold trim, but if you put the red on, it kind of looks like the Eurocali, or at least just reminds me of the Haas Eurocali car a lot. So yeah, this is the car that we're going to bring to this brand new season. Alright, from the HQ screen, we've upgraded our test track, so we are one away from having a legendary engine being available to us. I don't feel comfortable spending the 35 million yet, but potentially that could be something we look at later into the season. So we have a dilemma. Must have heard AlphaTauri suffered a bizarre engine fire in the pit garages recently. Rumors are abound in the media that the sport's governing body are going to give them a heavy fine for unsafe work practices. I've laid out a couple media interviews for you, perhaps to exploit this unfortunate mishap and point out to the potential sponsors that our team is much more professional. Yeah, so we're going to have the chairman not be happy, but the marketability go up. I'm not going to plan to go risky with our goal for the year, so our happiness is going to go up pretty easily, but the marketability seems to be our problem. So we're going to go with the marketability. Alright, so it looks like we're just about to start preseason testing, and with us starting to do that, I think it's time for us to show what the driver lineups look like for this year. Alright, so from the team screen, you can see our drivers here for this year. We brought in Vettel, and we were originally going to put Latifi as a reserve driver, but with him wanting to leave, I felt like it was just fair to let him go. Yeah, we did have some interesting driver transfers, some unrealistic, some kind of realistic. I'm not going to go through and tell you which was what. I did do just only I wouldn't even say a handful. I probably did maybe 3 or 4 different driver changes. The rest of these have just been normal stuff that the game has done. But going through the teams, you have Red Bull Racing. They have Verstappen and Perez, so the same 2 drivers, and I'm pretty sure they had Lawson last year. You have Mercedes, who have Hamilton and Russell, with De Vries as their reserve driver. I'm very certain that was the same they had last year. Looking at McLaren, they are the first people to show a new driver with Pierre Gasly. Stoffel Van Dorn is their reserve driver. I'm pretty sure that was the same last year. Looking at Haas, they've got Mick Schumacher and Kevin Magnussen. Pietro Fittipaldi is their reserve driver, the same as last year. Ferrari have Leclerc and Sainz, same as last year, as well as Giovinazzi, who's the same. Looking at Aston Martin pick up Daniel Ricciardo. They have Lance Stroll, and their new reserve driver is Nicholas Latifi. Looking at Alpine, they keep Fernando Alonso and Ocon, but Oscar Piastri is going to stay as their reserve driver. Hopefully for him, he can find a seat next year because he's very talented. Looking at AlphaTauri with their hole opened up by Pierre Gasly, have let in F2 champion Dennis Hauger. Their new reserve driver is Tepe Nattori, who actually is not a part of the Red Bull Junior program, but just ended up on the team. And finally, looking at Alfa Romeo, we have Valtteri Bottas staying, you have Guan Yu Zhou staying, and then you have Robert Schwartzman coming in and replacing Robert Kubica. Robert Schwartzman became very close to getting an F1 drive. Had a little bit of an order to get up the line of, but that's where Mazepin came in. A lot of people think that Eilert should have gotten the seat alongside of Schumacher. Schwartzman, another driver you could argue should have got a spot, but didn't. But yeah, that's your grid. Now let's head on to preseason testing. All right, we're sitting pretty good right now. Remember, these results don't mean everything. So we've gained 25 morale with Vettel finishing 3rd in preseason testing. Norris and Ocon are up at the top. You've got Hamilton, you've got Ricciardo in the Aston in 5th, Zhou in 6th. You got Albon in 7th. That's very good for us. I think we're the highest placed team in preseason testing, so that's good to see, but I wouldn't really bet on that showing anything. Looking down here, behind Albon, you've got Russell, Sainz, Verstappen, Tsunoda, Magnussen, Gasly, Stroll, Alonso, Schumacher, Bottas, Leclerc, Perez, and last place with some, or most of these guys had problems here. Last place is Dennis Hauger. So from the mail screen, we've got our preseason targets. McLaren team to beat after preseason testing. That's cool to see. Hopefully that's actually a thing. Resounding success in preseason testing. And here is our goal for the year. I think we could hit 8th. I think I'm just going to go with 10th just to do the conservative thing so we can maintain the job throughout the year. If we have a couple of disappointing races out the gate and we're not scoring a point or so, that could find us in a situation where we're kicked out of the team. So we're just going to go with 10th. All right, so from part improvement, we're just going to focus on getting the reliability done. Yeah, this might be a problem for some teams actually not having the reliability throughout the year with just kind of the starting off reliability. So we will focus on getting these done. We'll get them to about 80%, and then we'll switch over to the other stuff, and then we'll try to get them as close as perfect as we can before the first race. From the part design screen, we're going to go out of the gate and focus on some engines. We're going to try to at least get to average or above, just so we can, have our engines done quickly because they're pretty much crucial at every single racetrack. So this is going to be our first engine we put on the car. From the sponsorship screen, we're going to just go through here and try to find the best offers for our team. So we're going to look at the race bonus sponsor. Unfortunately, we've got most of the sponsorship offers that we had from when we had very low marketability. So we're going to have to accept just some of these just to get some money before we go broke. So we're going to take on Gallagher. Looking at these sponsor offers, I think the best resort here is going for HP tuners. Just it has the shortest deal length, and hopefully when we have this expire, we can look for some 4 stars. Alright, looking at slot 4. Alright, so out of the sponsors available, Hackett London, more fixed per race. Yeah, that difference in upfront payment doesn't really mean much. Alright, so we're going to look at sponsorship slot 6. Alright, we are not going to be able to get SMP Racing, but between these two, double the fixed race pay for Sealmaster. Alright, so I just went into the livery edit screen just to kind of show the logos. So we've got Gallagher on the rear wing, we've got Hackett London on the front wing, we've got Sealmaster on the spoiler, we've got HP tuners on the side pod. The color works perfectly with the kind of the light blue we've got here. And yeah, we've got our normal Rich Energy and Ponos, which we've put on the car last year. So this is the car that we are going to contend with for the entire year. So from part improvement, just looking at the reliability here, we're just gonna put these on and hopefully they get some added durability before the race. Alright, so getting ready for secure, we are only going to do 1 race this episode. I think that's going to be the usual thing we do for the first episode of every season. Looking here at the sponsor selects, we see that if we don't finish 8th or above, we're going to leave with, we're going to lose $400,000. So yeah, we're going to be operating at a little bit of a loss this entire year. But with how much capital we currently have in the balance, I don't see that being too much of an issue because it's only $400,000 and we only got 23 races to worry about. Looking at the tire selection, 35 sets of tires available, so we're going to go with 15, 10, 10 for the rest of the year. Last year we did 10, 5, 5, which was plenty tires for the whole weekend, so this is a little bit excessive. Looking at part fitting, we've gone through and given them the best we could of balancing the parts out, and yeah, but anyways, on to secure. Alright, so getting ready for practice, we're gonna do Vettel, Albon, as you'd expect. Interesting to note, Vettel's got 20 feedback, so that's pretty good, and yeah, we've got all the setups from last year, so we should be pretty close just kind of coming out the gate, so this is gonna help practice a little bit, but I think instead of fast forwarding, I'm just going to come back for the practice results. All right, so looking at practice, we were 8th and 9th, and top of the board was Charles Leclerc. Getting ready for the first qualifying of the year, we're going to put Vettel onto level 1 qualifying trim and super soft tires. We're going to put Albon on level 1 qualifying trim and sweeter spots. Alright, Albon comes around the final corner. We're going to time him when he gets the line. So 2 minutes 13. I'm going to send out Albon at 2 minutes 20, and then we'll send Vettel out at 2 minutes 30. Alright, let's see how far we drop down the grid. I know we had a good practice, but I'm not really believing the pace. Alright, so after the first runs that went out, we are 12th and 16th, so that is a hell of an improvement for what we typically do. Alright, so 2 minutes 30 left, we're going to send out Albon, and then with 2 minutes 20, we're going to send out Vettel. Alright, so Albon is up, and so is Vettel. Albon is down. Albon goes 16th, but Vettel goes 11th. And this will be the grid for the race. Alright, so on the grid for the first race of the year, we had a very short qualifying session. That's the new rules for this year. Just no multiple rounds, just straight out do your however many laps you can in that amount of time, and that sets the grid. But for the race, we are going with soft tires, race trim for both drivers. We have a 33 lap race on our hands here. These should last about 22, 23 laps. But just with how you have to kind of push and conserve and whatnot, I'm fairly certain that we should just do a one stop on these, and it might be closer than or it might not be as safe as the tires usually indicate. But this is the knowledge or setups, not 100%, but perfect on everything. And this is going to be our driver's strategy, just to make sure that we keep some tires underneath us. But on to the starting grid. Alright, so your starting grid for the Secure Grand Prix is Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Sergio Perez, Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz, George Russell, Pierre Gasly, Fernando Alonso, Dennis Hauger, Sebastian Vettel, Valtteri Bottas, Yuki Tsunoda, Esteban Ocon, Mick Schumacher, Alexander Albon, Lance Stroll, Daniel Ricciardo, and Guan Yu Zhou and Kevin Magnussen. Alright, so here are the 5 red lights. And off we go. I'm not trying to get my hopes up here, but looks like we've been doing pretty good with what we have available to us. Seems like our tires are heating up very quickly. I don't know how I feel about keeping them on push, but I'm going to think we're going to get them onto neutral here, just to kind of maintain some of that heat. The heat is still, I think, going to rise up a little bit with us on neutral, so we can kind of keep it like that. We're going to go on to high on the engine mode. We're not going to go super aggressive on the fuel, so we're going to go to about like 1.2. Dennis Hauger doing a really, really good job in his F1 debut, currently in the points. Got a lot of different strategies here, a lot of people on every single one of the tires, so looks like a lot of the front runners are on the softer compound, hoping to pit here and just kind of either switch over onto the soft and do a one stop, or go onto the soft tire and go for a two stop. Tire temperatures are kind of maintaining. Nothing too crazy here. When we get the fuel delta warning, we're going to put them both onto neutral. Our engines are still pretty bad, so that's going to be a hindrance on us for the rest of the season. But we're going to start developing some engines here, so hopefully we can compete. We see Zhou has pitted all the way in the back. We're catching Ocon, but Ocon's got way fresher tires than we do. With Albon kind of sitting behind Vettel here, we're going to have him conserve just to kind of get some of that heat out of the tire. Hopefully he doesn't fall back into the clutches of 14th place, which looks like Bottas. So we're a third of the way through the race. Vettel into the points at the moment, but it looks like, yeah, George Russell is pitted behind us on the medium tire, so he's going to get ahead of us once the cycling of the pit stops go through. Alright, we're just chilling here. So we need to make it to about lap 17 before we can consider pitting. I think we're going to bring Vettel in first, just because he's been stuck behind Ocon this entire time. Alright, so starting lap 17, we are going to have Vettel push, and we're going to have Albon conserve. So we're going to have him push, and then go directly onto the soft compound. It says it lasts 23 laps. We were only able to get it to about 17, so looks like the same kind of tire wear issues we've been complaining about have not disappeared. Just gonna switch him over onto conserve, so when he comes out, he's able to kind of get some of that heat out. All right, Albon, we're gonna let him push. We're gonna have him pit this lap onto softs. Watch what Vettel does coming out of the pits. He is behind Alonso. I'm going to have him back up just for a little bit. Alright, and then I'm going to put him on a neutral. So we're going to keep an eye on Albon, see what Albon can do here. So he's got 9th place. Russell all over him. Alright, we're going to pause just so we can put him onto conserve. Uh-oh. Oh, are you kidding me? We got a time penalty? So Vettel gets a time penalty. It's unfortunate. We get 17th Stroll ahead of us, but he's on worn tires, so we will get by him at some point. It's just how quickly we can do so. Just having these guys on neutral at the moment, just to kind of maintain some wear and keep the temperatures down as we see them just kind of raising up gradually over the run. All right, we got 16th or 15th place Alonso ahead of us. We've got Bottas and Magnussen who are going to have to pit, and I think we'll get ahead of. So it looks like 12th place is potentially on the cards. Oh. Well, with Sainz crash, that's going to move us up a position. That's going to move the cut line of where the points are up a position for us. So that's good. All right, we get ahead of 14th. We get it into 14th, getting ahead of Schumacher there. Now that's turned into 13th. Albon's sitting pretty with his tires at the moment, just kind of even on the wear. We got Ricciardo behind us on worn tires. We see 12th place ahead of us. We've got 10th place Ocon, about 2 seconds up the road. I think if we conserve... Oh, Lance Stroll has crashed out. Oh, but he's in the back. Okay. So we're going to conserve Vettel here, just so we can push here. So we're going to push Vettel. Also, I think we need to conserve some fuel here. Fortunately, we're just going to do that for a lap or so. Alright, so Vettel is into 10th. I'm going to keep him pushing while we conserve tires, or fuel. Alright, so we're going to put him on a medium. Have him go neutral, neutral. Alright, we got Tsunoda coming up behind us. We can see Ocon out the front here. We're going to conserve Vettel a little bit. We're going to maintain what Albon is doing. I just want to get some temperature out of these tires for Vettel. Alright. Just gonna go back onto neutral here. It looks like Alonso's starting to fall back a little bit. Got 2 laps to go. Alright, we're going to start in the final lap here. We're going to push both drivers. Alright, Vettel is gapping Alonso a little bit. Alright, and he is a little too far back, but it took a while. We were able to secure our first point if Vettel's penalty doesn't come into play. Oh no, and it does! No! So following the first round of the championship, these are your results. That was such a bummer. Vettel was ahead of Alonso. I know he got a penalty earlier. We've had this problem before where we got a penalty and I thought it was served during a race, but we lost a couple positions because of it. Vettel crossed the line in the points. First time we've had a car finish in the points in a season and a race, and we just had it taken away from us because of I'm assuming a 10-second penalty. Yeah. Man. Absolute gut punch there for the first round of the season. Very good pace. Very good pace. But, yeah, no points to show for it. But looking at your points, Fernando Alonso gets the point, unfortunately. Ocon, Hauger, in his debut for AlphaTauri gets all the way up in 8th. His teammate finished in 13th, so very good job for Hauger. Lando Norris, George Russell, who had a drive-through penalty. You got Gasly in his first race for McLaren, finishing in 5th. In 4th place, you have Charles Leclerc getting the fastest lap. Your podium, Perez, Verstappen, and then top of the board, Lewis Hamilton. So looking at your championship standings here, nothing really to say. It's just essentially the first race results. Yeah, on to the constructors. So looking at the Constructors' Championship, Mercedes and Red Bull are tied. You've got McLaren just ahead of Ferrari. Ferrari had Carlos Sainz DNF out of the race, so I think it looks like the normal pecking order, but maybe Mercedes have kind of gone from being third best to either being the best or the second best. So that's going to be interesting to watch throughout the rest of the season. AlphaTauri with 4 points and Alpine with 3 points. So following Secure, we're going to lose about $100,000. Got $80 million in the bank, so yeah, we should have, hopefully, once some of these sponsors kind of run out, some better sponsors with higher fixed payments that can kind of back up our team. So taking a look at F2, yeah, I didn't change any of the driver stuff here, so you might see some drivers in here who either shouldn't be qualified or, you know, whatever down the road, but I'm not going to sit here and go through and make these realistic. Just we're going to let these be a little wild. First race for F2, you got Yuri Vips winning. You've got Rene Rast, second step of the podium, and then you have Dan Ticknam. Looking through the race results here, so you got Nick Tandy, Robert Kubica, Dragovic was already in this championship, Pascal Wehrlein. Those are some of the people that stood out to me. Championship results, same as the race results. In your team standings, you've got High Tech top of the board with ART behind them. You know, all first race stuff, but we'll watch this kind of go back and forth throughout the rest of the year. Looking at your Formula 3 results, Nico Hulkenberg got a podium, even got a race win, but it's a couple steps below where it coulda, woulda, shoulda been. So Hulkenberg wins. You got Kyle Collette in second place, and then you have David Schumacher, final step of the podium. We're just gonna scroll through these results. Actually, looking through, you've got uh, Lucas deGrassi, you have Jarno Trulli, you have Earl Bamber. All drivers that stand out. Looking at the team championship, you've got Carlin on top, Campos right behind them. Like I said before, this is going to change. First race doesn't really show you much. All right, so we went through everything through the end of the last season and into the first race. Very positive. We had a really, really good result there. We just had a penalty. I wish it showed penalties better. I saw it one time, and if I didn't see it then, I would have just finished the race and wondered why Vettel had dropped all the way back to 12th. So I'm glad I saw it, and then I kind of remembered on the final lap, oh crap, we might lose this points position. Kind of just an absolute, just kind of like just yanking something that we've been chasing for this long just out of our hands after we finish the race in 10th. But yeah, still positive result, very good pace. We were very far from being the worst team on the grid. We were able to be 11th and 12th on a dry track, which we've not been able to do this entire race. Looking on to next episode, we should go to Jeddah, and Jeddah looks like it's going to be wet, so potentially that's going to be a good opportunity for us to rebound and get our first points of the playthrough. But if you enjoyed today's video, like, comment, subscribe, all that dumb YouTuber stuff, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your week.